Mail time! Well, good day to you and welcome back. Well, we have another episode of Mail Time today. I'm always excited when we do Mail Time. Well, this was brought about by having received this package in the mail from a viewer of ours named Bill. And of course, I've already opened it, but we're going to just do a pretend unboxing here. That's always good. This was quite a surprise, this particular package. Can you guys tell what's in it, huh? Let's come here. Come in closer. Let's see what it is. Stay tuned. Okay, so, well, we have first of all, some newspapers, and this is February 25th, the Pilot, Southern Pines, North Carolina newspaper. I got some newspaper to read. We'll do that later, or I'll do that later. Okay, so, first of all, there's a letter. It's always important to read the letter first. And the letter is very nicely typed. It looks like a small-sized elite typeface, perhaps, that is sort of like a Techno, a little bit squarish-shaped type. And I don't know what machine he typed it on. Did he say? I don't think he did. Anyways, he is interested in baseball and baseball scorecards. So he has what he calls experiments. There are 5 experiments here pertaining to baseball scorecards. So let's do experiment number 1. This is a designed typewriter compatible baseball scoring template that was made by a guy named Lou Spirito. I'll put a link down below if I have it. The idea is you bring a typewriter to the ball game and you thread it into your machine, and then you can score the game. And this one was dated September 27th, 2025. Oh, this is the Rays and the Blue Jays. Major League Baseball. So you have the names of the players here, the roster, the batting order, I should say, the innings, and all the stuff that happened, and I'm not a baseball expert. You also have the stuff about the pitchers right here, how they pitched for both teams right there. So this becomes like a document of the game in one sheet. And there's notes about the game down here that you can have. So this is a very cool, there's a link to this form right here I'll put down. So this is experiment number 1. Experiment number 2 are using these index cards. These are 4-inch by 6-inch index cards. This is the Houston Astros versus the Boston Red Sox, August 1st, 2025. He has a little bit about the standings in their leagues, how they're doing. He has the scoring by inning here, who won, who lost. The Sox win 2-1 in 10 innings in this case. Then he also includes like divisional standings, right, for how they're doing in their division. He does the lineup for the players for the game. And then each inning has its own card, the top of the inning, the bottom of the inning, right like that. All notes about hitting, hits, runs, anything that happens. So this goes the entire game. This one here, the 5th inning, 8th inning. So this goes to the 10th inning, right, bottom of the 10th inning. And then there's a final batting card that tells you the batting, all the batters who batted, final pitching. So this is like a summary of the game, all the pitchers, the relief pitchers and all that. And so then he has a black divider for the next game. He has these cards loose. He types them at the game, and then later on, and he coil punches and coil binds the entire game, the set of games here. So, and he has it like book numbers. So this is really cool using 4x6 index cards. And you can imagine you could have a set of these. You could be documenting the game as a fan of your team. What a cool idea that is. Experiment number 3. This is a booklet. This is a beautiful little booklet, and it's done on really thick, nice textured paper. It feels almost like cardstock, but it's a little more flexible. This is really high-end paper, it feels like. So this is New York Yankees at Los Angeles Dodgers, the World Series 2025, Game 6. Dodgers lead 3-1. Dodger Stadium, October 30th, 2024. So this is the World Series from last year. This third experiment is in the form of a codex or booklet. A single piece of 9 by 12 inch paper is laid out in an octavo format, and the game is entered by loading and reloading the paper so this next consecutive page in the final book is used as the game is played. Once the game is complete, the 9 by 12 inch piece of paper is folded, trimmed, and bound with saddle stitching or staples to create a mini book of the game. So this is really cool, beautifully done with saddle stitching here, right? Look at that. And he's trimmed the corners with a corner punch. So here's game information about the weather and the starting time and the attendance and all that, who the umpires are, the series summary right here on the previous games that have been played, and then the starting lineups for both teams, starting pitchers, and then we start in with each inning, the top and bottoms of the innings on the left and right folios, respectively. So this went to just 9 innings like that, and then there is, in the back of this, the Dodgers end up winning the World Series. There's the final score, 7-6. There's a summary of the batting for both teams. There's a summary of the pitching for both teams, and that's it. So this is a beautiful booklet, a beautiful summary of the game, all the details of it, bound in a saddle stitch binding, and you can imagine collecting these, making these for every game. If you're a baseball fan and like to do scoring, that sounds like a great idea. The next thing is experiment number 4 in this beautiful glass vial. And this is the ticker tape format, uses cash register receipt paper to score the game. You feed the cash register roll into your typewriter and away you go. Let me see if I can get this out of here without ripping it. Looks like the paper clip is being a little problematic here. Entering pregame information, lineup standings, and so forth, and in each successive innings play. So we start at the top here. I have to read this. With the Boston Red Sox at Minnesota Twins, July 29th, 2025. The standings of each team that year or that season. Starting lineups, starting pitchers, and then all the innings proceed, top and bottom of the innings in kind of a linear format. Top of the 7th. This would be the 7th inning stretch right here, right? And then we go to the 9th inning, and yes, let me see if I can get this paper clip out of here, maybe not. So then the final line of the scoring for each inning, final score, 8-5, Boston beats Minnesota right there. So that's pretty cool. It is a linear format. The paper is obviously a little more fragile than the thicker papers, but it is another way that you can do this kind of scoring system with, if you're a baseball fan. And he didn't mention this, but because this is receipt paper, if you have a thermal typewriter, you could use this receipt paper, albeit you have 2 color. You couldn't have the red, of course. It would be monochrome. But that is another idea. Pretty cool. But wait, there's more. We have the second page to his letter, and that is, he hasn't really named the last experiment or the last format, but this is on 2 9-inch by 12-inch sheets of paper. By the way, this paper is really nice. It is heavier, and it feels like some kind of art paper a little bit. It's really nice paper. So this one has kind of a 2-column format. So we have the game information, Boston versus Baltimore Orioles, August 26, 2025, Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland, right there. So the lineups, the starting pitchers, and then you have all the innings and all the details about that. So the top of the 7th ends on the first page, and we go to the second page, and we go from the down to the 9th inning, and then we have the scoring line here. 5-0 Boston. And here is the summary of the batting for both the Red Sox and the Orioles right there. And then you have the pitching results right here and the game notes. I can imagine you could hole punch these in this format, put them in a nice 3-ring binder as another way to archive these typed baseball score sheets. Well, all 5 of these formats were really great. I'm just amazed that a person could use a typewriter in this way. Kind of a non-standard way of using a typewriter, but it works fine. And really, there's something about, like, especially this particular method, where he's doing these lines, these dividing lines, these borders between the sections, which I did a video a few months ago about. One of my Italian correspondents had started doing decorative borders with typewriter characters he called freggi in Italian. And so Bill is doing kind of the same thing. And also he's making really good use of red as well as black. The red works really well here for this baseball formatting. So a bichrome ribbon is super, super important apparently in this particular scoring. I wanted to read an excerpt from his letter though. First of all, he says that those of us who score games use 1 or 2 mainline formats or methods to score games. I think most prefer using pen or pencil and score games while in the stands watching a game live. So typewriter scoring is normally only done at home while watching on TV or listening on radio. Unless you're Tom Hanks, who has been known to take his Hermes 3000 to Dodgers games to score games live, presumably from his luxury box. Yes. But then he said, last summer I came across a scorecard formatted for typewriters developed by Lou Spirito, who posted them on the Reddit Baseball Scorecards subreddit. Lou's scorecards became popular with those of us at the intersection of baseball scoring and typewriters. We are a small tribe, but are devoted to this method of enjoying baseball games. So then he describes all 5 of these experimental methods. In the pre-printed format, the experiment number 1, he calls it right here. This was a template that Lou Spirito had developed. He says he laid out this card to match precisely the alignments of typewriter printing. He has one that matches 10 character per inch format and another for 12. The cards are laid out the way most baseball scorecards are, with a grid of players and innings and places, pitchers, and hitters statistics. I will just comment here that there are some European letter spacings that are not precisely 10 or 12. It's a little more complicated when you're using like German or European typewriters. So there isn't one metric typewriter spacing for characters. There are a number of fractional millimeter per character spacings formats. But if you're wanting to do this, I would advise starting with a standard Pica or a standard Elite. It would work better as far as fitting in the data. But the way I see this, the boxes here are wide enough. Even if you're using a 11 point something character per inch, 3.5 millimeters per character European spacing, it would probably work fine for you, but just be aware of that. And then as far as the index card method, I would say that some of your really small portable typewriters might have a problem threading the cards through the machine. These are rather stiff, I will admit. A tiny little portable typewriter may not work as well for you as a bigger machine would. But if you're doing this at home, scoring at home, watching on TV, you might be able to pull out your big machine, your big standard machine that has a big fat platen roller, and be able to roll those cards in there no problem. So I will leave a link down below in the description for the subreddit for these baseball typewriter scoring, and also the link to Lou Spirito's website where he has these templates here for scoring baseball using a typewriter. And I just wanted to say I want to really thank Bill for sending me this. It is really great to see kind of these new, I don't know if they're new, but they are very innovative ways of using typewriters in purposes that we maybe haven't really thought of. Scoring baseball games using templates and different methods like this, I think it's a great idea. And this brings me to the point of, do any of you guys out there have other particular uses for typewriters that generally aren't really talked about? Like, okay, I know people like to type up recipe cards. using typewriters. My wife has been doing that. She has a bunch of old books with hand-scrawled recipes and her grandmother's recipes and her mom's recipes, and she's been using a typewriter to type those up. Do any of you guys have any other novel purposes for typewriters? Like, this is a great example of it, and I want to encourage you guys to find these new novel things to do with typewriters. And of course, as always, I want to encourage you to stay creative and play ball.